So, welcome back to the Starship Reliant, a podcast and game of Star Trek adventures taking place in the Star Trek Online universe, trying to follow their timeline and create an adventure that takes place within that universe that doesn't entirely match the story presented. We've got a large cast of characters who are essentially Starfleet Academy graduates, and we start with the ship's captain, one Lieutenant Marcus Graves, played by Duncan.
Hello, hello.
We've also got the ship's executive officer, a lieutenant junior grade, Alenis Kendra, originally from the security department.
Hello.
We've got, I've thought to myself who would be the ship's third officer based on rank and all of that, but not really that important. So I'm just going to go down the list as I see it. The ship has an interesting thing that we hadn't really seen since the original series too much, and that's a chaplain, because there is a chapel on board the USS Reliant. It is all faiths and, all races, and Chaplain Whateley both serves as ship's counselor and sees over that chapel.
Greetings and salutations, one and all.
The ship's doctor is Starfleet. How would I put it? He's a legacy officer. His family has served in Starfleet, and he continues to do just so far an incredible job with the things that he's been presented. With Dr. Eli O'Connor, Trill.
That's a me, and that's a half trill.
Half trill, sorry. The ship's pilot is originally and still is a science officer serving as the kind of the head of the xenobiology division of science, as well as being the best pilot that they have on the ship, and that is, and she is also the third or fourth of her race, a race created by Duncan, Idaho, the Ibi. That's Ensign Kara Junrani.
Kara reporting. Hey, if I'm half yellow and half blue, should I just wear green?
Possibly.
No.
Possibly.
No.
Well, I lose my vote, apparently. The ship's chief science officer, who has, with lucky rolls thus far in our game, truly proven to be one of the best science officers in the fleet or something. Lieutenant Junior Grade Quentin Reynolds, who is married to the ship's executive officer, Alenis Kendra.
He's having microphone difficulties again.
Well, I'm sure that he will wave low at us when his microphone difficulties are taken care of. And last but not least of the voices that he says, Quentin's official words are, "I am sciencing it." He just typed that into our chat. The last of the voices that you'll be hearing is Bazag, who is playing our chief engineer, Ryk'tyr, who, like our science officer, has made the kind of roles, and people on his staff have made the kind of roles that make him look like maybe the best engineer that Starfleet has, on the level of those who are famous, etc., etc. And he is also the first of his. He is the first of his race serving in Starfleet. It's a race known as the Soar. They're kind of a mix between, physically and anatomically, somewhere between Gorn and Saurians. They're reptilian, and that's Ryk'tyr, our chief engineer. Baz also helps out with the fact that I haven't learned the system of Star Trek Adventures all that deeply yet, and so he helps out with rules pretty much all the time.
Just fulfilling my duty, doing what is expected.
We also very often have in our listening in and in our chat room, we have a good friend of ours, Theta, who throws actions at us for a character of one of the exocomps on board the Reliant. This exocomp has been found to have subroutines running inside of it that are beginning to, like when the Doctor was developing personality pieces, this exocomp is developing relationships and pieces of personality as it, exists on board the Reliant. Tonight, being that we are in July, right here in the middle of the summer, we're going to take you someplace. The game has not quite gone yet this year, but hopefully, hopefully we'll get there really soon. Tonight, we have an adventure that I am going to call Mayhem on Risa. It may be a 2-part or 3-part adventure, who knows, but we will find out as our scene comes up on board the Reliant in space, and it comes up on Captain or Lieutenant, but Captain Graves and Commander Kendra, wherever the two of you want to be, whether it's on the bridge where the rest of the crew is, or whether you're having a talk in the ready room. You had just received your new orders, which, considering where you are in space, just kind of south of where the, galactically south of where the neutral zone is, you're fairly close to Risa. And your new orders come from the desk of Exploration Command. They're signed off on by Admiral Marconi, and it is a temporary assignment. It's kind of like your main assignment is Exploration Command. Sometimes Operational Command may request your ship be used in an operation, and in this case, your ship, the Reliant, your ship and crew are being requested by the Starfleet Intelligence Division to be present on Risa at this, what is being hailed as a Risian Summer Festival. The festival is, it's not that Risa isn't always a party, but this is they're turning their kind of all the time party into a festival for the launch of a new starship, a Corvette designed and built by Risian engineers. And from all looks at what you can see of the ship when you look at your new orders, this is a beautiful, fast-looking racing ship. And the reason that the festival is happening is because it's the launch of this ship. The company producing them on Risa is giving away something like 50 of them to people on Risa at the time of the festival, and essentially, what you are being told in your orders is that a Starfleet intelligence asset is on Risa. It is a very important Starfleet intelligence asset. There is no guarantee that things are going to go there's no guarantee that anything is going to go wrong, and this might just be a week-long vacation for you and your crew. Just in case something goes wrong, you are to be on Risa with the Reliant in orbit. And those are your new orders. Be on Risa for a party, just in case something goes wrong. Obviously, beforehand, we talked a little bit, and it was, obviously you would want to know what the asset you are there, ostensibly just in case for is. They refuse to tell you. You are there in case something goes wrong in general. Something goes wrong in general on Risa during this festival, you're supposed to deal with it. That's the orders that you've gotten, and I'm going to shut up now and let the crew start taking over. What's going on the ship.
All right, so we'll be having this in the ready room, and I like the idea that we have just gotten off of communications, and it's sort of like call ends, and we're just sort of like sitting back, like, okay, how do we handle this? So I'm just going to start off with Graves having just a long sigh and thinking.
What's on your mind, Captain?
This is either, I can't help but think of this. This is because of our last mission. Just how it turned out. I'm just trying to consider, is it because they think we're incapable or incapable? Like, are they doing this because they want us out there, or because they want us to get us out of the way? I mean, if they're looking for a ship to handle this type of situation, a crew of cadets is probably not the way to go, especially if we're just giving us a week on Risa. Like a week, like full week.
I've learned one thing about command. It's that you should never try and figure out what they're thinking.
It's good advice. So, either way, the best way to proceed is just to effectively figure out what we're going to be doing in order to keep the peace in the best way possible, I suppose. Hopefully we're not going to run into any Starfleet security people down there. Let's see. I guess proceed to orbit and initiate standard tour leave protocols, holding back certain key personnel that we want to have on hand in case anything goes wrong. So, let's see. Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But yeah, I think for the time being, we should probably just set a course and try to deal with this as best we can.
Sounds good.
And we leave the ready room onto the bridge to whatever other people are currently doing.
So then the first other people who hear of the orders are the people that are on the bridge, fairly standardly. When you guys give Kara the order to change course and where you're going. And in fact, Larissa, back at the tactical station, her one thing you've noticed about the way that Larissa is at the main tactical station, there is never a point in time that you can consciously think of that one of her fingers or hands has not been on the console. Even if she's leaning back, relaxing a little bit, she's got her index finger up on the console. And in this case, it's the very same thing. She basically just leans back from the console a little bit and says, We're going to Risa?
And at about that same time, Kara simply throws both of her arms in the air. Woohoo! Vacation!
Woohoo! Vacation.
Graves just sort of gives Kara a look, then addresses Larissa and says, "New orders. We're going to be babysitting some kind of intelligence asset on Risa. Details have not been forthcoming, but I'd say chances are probably at this point 50-50 whether or not we actually do anything on this planet. So for the time being, let us plan and make every appearance for having vacation." He looks at Kara meaningfully, but at the same time, we may have to be on alert. So shift protocols will be updated when we arrive, but plan to integrate with the local populace to some degree to keep up the charade.
Aye, sir. Taking us in. Kara is busy piloting the ship with one hand and looking up swimsuits with the other hand on a secondary monitor.
I love it. Larissa, anyone, the people who could see what Larissa does at her console, because she's up, of course, behind the command cluster, would be if Ryk'tyr is at the engineering station on the bridge, you could see what she does, and Quentin could see what she does. So the two of you can see that what Larissa does is she immediately begins calling up the schedule of the festival, everything that's going to be happening, like all of the big things, and her first line of inquiry, quite literally, is how the hell are they giving away 50 freaking starships? As Kara had written in our chat, 50 starships is a lot of resources. How are they just going to give away that many? And that's the first thing Larissa starts looking for.
So who sees that?
Quentin and Ryk'tyr if he's on the bridge.
I think at this point I would be comfortable enough with how engineering is going to be on the bridge unless there's
right on.
Specific tasks that need to be done.
Right on. Very cool. That means that during like Alpha Shift, you are primarily manning the bridge's engineering station. So yeah, that's basically what Larissa starts looking up immediately. So.
Of course, now you've got me curious as to what anybody else on the bridge might be looking up. It's clear that we're all doing a little bit of multitasking now that Rise has been announced.
You're all doing a little. Oh, and also Larissa is looking at swimsuits too. That's about it.
I love this crew.
Unless there's anything very specific you guys want to do before you arrive at Risa, the next scene begins with the Reliant warping into orbit around the beautiful blue-green planet of Risa, and immediately picking up until Larissa doesn't, send it through the entire ship or the whole bridge or whatever, but if you remember how it was in Star Trek Picard when they came into orbit around Free Cloud and like all of the advertisements started coming up for them, Larissa closes it down, but you're all aware, you can tell that happens because all of your consoles show it. All of your consoles show that the planet tries to contact you and sell you tons of stuff. And that's about it.
So Graves is just going to be kind of going through the motions, a little bit more distracted than usual, but it seems like he's got his mind slightly on something else, slightly on the mission, a little bit uneasy.
We've reached orbit, Captain. I'm putting us right over the major central city right now. Unless you want me to go somewhere else.
Let's see. I mean, Central City, that's going to be a little bit ways off from our destination. There's a resort that's hosting the major festivities over on the directionality. A southeastern cluster of islands that kind of looks like a question mark. Anyway, put us around there just to give us minimum transporter time.
Aye, aye, Captain. Putting us in questionable orbit.
Like, Marcus has to restrain himself from actually doing a head desk at that point with this little side table. Like, he almost lets that slip. Of just like, oh my god. Like, can this just not be happening?
So Rick's, while been traveling and all that, Rick's been actually going over the Corvette details. Just over the schematics there, just sort of curiously.
Right on. Because of the way that the game works now, imagine that what you're looking at is a Tier 6 version of the Rysian Corvette, with a whole lot of what would I call them, decorative options, I suppose. Places you can put on a spoiler and what its exact power output is, how they're directing it through the engines. Everything you could possibly want to know about this new Corvette is easily available. Unless you're like, do I want to know where the hidden compartments are for pirates and smugglers, and you hadn't even really thought of that before, like, Larissa notices you checking that out, and so she sends something over to your terminal that is literally where the hidden compartments beneath the deck plating on the Corvette are, likely for smugglers, because that's what she went looking for. So sharing information with other people on the ship, you can easily find out. This is a very fast little ship. It is little. It's not a big ship at all. I would say it's probably a little bigger than a Defiant, but not much. I can't remember exactly on it.
Okay, Rick's gonna try and customize the heck out of it anyway.
In your mind, just in case you happen to win one. You come to find out that is exactly what it is. Their initial production line is huge. They've seen nothing but basically there's nothing but desire for this ship. People want to own it, both for prestige, and there are racing communities out in the galaxy, and people want it for that. So it's a very popular ship, and their initial line is going to be huge. Something like 2,000 units are being produced. Giving away 50 of those 2,000 during this festival it's a big marketing gimmick. It's a way to get both the ship seen by the public and build a lot of goodwill that makes people feel decent about buying it from them. So it's nothing, there's nothing, would be the word. There's nothing suspicious about it once you take the time to look up all of the details of what's happening. It's a huge party is what's happening, and anybody who looks for it can find that out. You're absolutely right. What I see in chat is that Marcus would be looking for politics and such. This is a planet that's like basically one giant party. There are a few governmental figures that make decisions about when parties happen, where they happen, what companies are given building permits and cetera, et cetera. But for the most part, it's Risa. I was too old for Risa when I was in the academy the first time. I like that, Quentin. So back to on board your ship. Guys have enough time to make any preparations that you want.
So, as I've been typing in chat, Ensign Tardigrade has been packing safety equipment. So he's got a life vest, he's got lots of floaties, he's got extra floaties, he's got 2 inflatable duckies, he's got GPS trackers and signal buoys, he's got a flare launcher, portable camping kit, and he's also got a harpoon.
I question the harpoon. Anyway, Kara has replicated herself a nice cyan and pink swimsuit, and then noticing that Oakley has been going around decorating the ship by changing what the monitors display when not in use, goes to help Oakley. Pretty soon there are neon palm trees and shells all around the ship.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's wonderful.
So, as I just typed in chat, Lieutenant Tardigrade is not, or Ensign Tardigrade, is not sure why he has a harpoon, but he figures it might come in handy. Just his little simple brain's like, I'm going to bring this. I can fit it. I can bring it.
The only question that I have that Ryk'tyr raises from an engineering standpoint is make sure that he doesn't poke all the floaties and inflatable things that he has with the sharp pointy end.
Oh, he's made sure that's all safe. And according to transported according to Starfleet regulations, because he's a good junior security officer.
It's got a cork on the end over the harpoon part.
I was just about to say that.
Most excellent. So, who all is beaming down to Risa?
Captain has given permission for everyone to beam down of the senior crew.
Oh my goodness.
I'm going.
That's just brilliant. Everyone?
Kara heads for the transporter room. She's already wearing her swimsuit underneath a pair of shorts and a t-shirt. She's actually looking up any interesting places to eat on the beach.
There is a little bit away from the main resort where you can actually get rooms. There is a restaurant on an archway that right now it reads as generic Rysian foods, but if you look even more than like a second at what is being offered there are a number of hitters on the space, food, like restaurant, galactic level like restaurant chains, all like competing to see if they can be the ones that run the restaurant on the new place starting next year. For right now, it's basic Rysian fare, which, to be fair, is unique and not something that you get every day on board a starship. So that would probably end up being your choice. And I think I hope you know which area I'm talking about on the Risa map. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the second one. Not the area where the main resort is, but
the
further
promenade.
down. Yes, that's what it's called in game. The promenade.
Promenade.
I haven't been there in a year. I forgot.
So, Kara's going to head for the promenade and beam down with her Hawaiian shirt, shorts, and swimsuit. Is anybody going with her?
I
imagine Nala is going with her.
Well, yeah, but that's a given.
That's our 100% allowed on planet. The only thing not allowed is weapons.
Except the harpoon with the cork on it.
They're interested, and yeah, the fact that it has a cork on it makes them seem to let it go when when John Tardigrade beams down. They seem to let it go. It's like kind of a sidelong glance, like, Does he have a harpoon with a cork on the end of it?
So I presume that Eli has a certain costume.
Yeah, I was about to say that, but everyone else was excited. So, yes, I am dressed in another Lando costume. If anyone watched Solo, the one where it's at the end of the movie and he's at the table gambling. And it's white pants, white shoes, white cape, and the shirt with all the funny designs on it. There's a picture on it in here and character info for anyone who hasn't seen it. And like a red scarf tie thing.
Kara looks over at him. You look good, but are you sure you won't be too warm?
No such thing as too warm for me.
Well, I guess if you're looking for a hot time, there you go.
Yep. I want to see if there's gambling on the island.
Oh, I'm sure there is. The question is, legal or illegal?
Either.
Looking into it, you can find the legal. That there is definitely legal gambling available on Risa. So
start with the legal and work my way up.
Start with the legal and work my way up. I like it. I also am quite fond, I must admit, of picture that we're gonna have to like post the pictures of like everybody's vacation gear along with the episode or something. But yeah, that's a great picture of exactly what I would imagine Whateley looks like arriving on Risa. That smile, dude.
I love it how no one ever questions how, Eli's wearing Lando's outfit, and he's a pale, red-headed trill. Like,
I get this image in my mind of like, so he doesn't have the accent, but he's like I can't remember the name of the movie where Brad Pitt played, they called Mikey? I don't know, but everyone that was like he played basically a thief type of character, and his brother was like this redhead who dressed very flamboyantly. And although he didn't have a beard, that's kind of what I get in my mind, or like one of the like. It reminds me of The Commitments, the old movie The Commitments, if you've ever seen it, where it's just like these Irish guys who look super like they're like just really cool and really like I don't, and that's the image I get of Eli every time you describe him. So
well, Eli's human half is like 100% Irish.
Right.
Well, you see, the thing you've got here is that you're dressing like Lando. So to pull it off, you don't need to look like Lando. You need to act like Lando.
Exactly.
And you're leaning into it, so.
Right, and so I never question that. That's why I never question it. I'm just like, that's just how I see the character of our doctor in any situation off duty. It's awesome.
Not any situation off duty, but
a lot of them.
A lot. Or
so
undercover. That's also his undercover outfit.
Okay. So yes, anyone else want to talk about what they're doing once they arrive on Risa? Finding food is super easy, Kara. And it's really let me make our first roll of the game. I forget what is the is it an exclamation point or a backslash? For the
exclamation, I believe.
Exclamation.
That's it. Okay. Success. The food is absolutely satisfactory. the chef that is on duty when you arrive over at the promenade, if anyone else is following, they actually Larissa would be following you. She doesn't have on her swimsuit yet. Well, actually, she does, but her swimsuit is a standard Federation gear one piece that has the Starfleet Delta on it, and she's wearing her lighter officer's jacket over top of that, and she's just following you down to where I'm glad that. Oh, cool! I'm glad you know exactly what I'm thinking of when I describe that. Yeah, she's gonna go with you to get something to eat. She's like, I've never been on Risa.
So, just for what Graves is going to be doing, he's just going to be ducking into a cafe with John Tardigrade.
Awesome.
Want to gamble with me?
Do very easily find some gambling, right? Like with the legal stuff that's happening is happening right in the main lobby of the resort with a whole bunch of vendors dealing in various commodities that the Rysians will accept as legal tender surrounding it. And there are these two beautiful Dabo tables.
Any cards?
You ask around and see if there are any cards. Make a... Let me go to the drive and open Eli O'Connor's sheet. There is it. There we go. And Baz, tell me if I'm thinking of the right thing here. Present command, which brings you to a 12.
Yeah, that's what I would probably do.
Just for like a gathering information check. So roll 2 dice. 12 is your target.
All right, just a hot moment so I can put that controller down and. Okay, so it was apostrophe or slash?
Exclamation point. Yeah. And you don't have to use the word roll.
So it's just R?
Oh, it's just exclamation point 2d20 and then your target number.
Okay, I remember now. And you said 12.
One success. That's all you needed for them to tell you that there certainly are card games. In fact, they direct you to what is essentially the mezzanine floor of the resort, which is right up above this main lobby area. There's kind of a glass, beautifully decorated, smoky green glass ceiling at you can see out to the open sky in, because it kind of does this pulsing thing where it almost looks like it's not there, and it's a very beautiful artistic feature of the top. And around that you can see that the resort continues to go up more floors, and they direct you to they call it a turbo lift. They direct you to a turbo lift through the back lobbies and tell you that there are card games, many different card games happening upstairs in the mezzanine.
Yes, but do they have Fizbin?
They have Fizbin. Oh, that's the one from that's the one from A Piece of the Action. Yeah, I should have known that right away. That's like one of my favorite episodes. They have Fizbin, no, but only because it's not a real game.
I know.
But I know that's like the answer to the question is the only reason it's not there is because it doesn't exist. Because when you and if there's anyone else going gambling, when you and whoever else is going gambling step off of the turbo lift, every possible card game you can imagine is up there.
Whateley, gamble with me. We have a big advantage. The biggest advantage.
Whateley so where,
head.
does his what?
I said, Whateley just shakes his head.
So where does Whateley go?
So I was gonna wait for everybody to have their fun. So as soon as the orders came down, Whateley was at his station, basically poring over all the psychology reports about Rysians, and anybody paying attention to him was probably noticing he was very flustered and confused, and kept rereading everything he could, trying to understand the Rysian mentality. Finally, he gave up, and as soon as they got there, that's when he goes and changes out to... he shaves his goatee and everything. He's just like, I'm going to enjoy myself. No one is going to stop me. So he basically just goes and sits at the beach and watches the water, and anybody that's paying attention to him or looks at him, he's literally doing nothing but just staring out at the sunset and drinking a Mai Tai.
Awesome. I like that a whole lot. What does our married couple do? Are Quentin and Kendra going to stick together? What are you guys going to do?
Well, can I talk? Hey, I'm talking.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can't hear him right now.
Oh, but I heard him.
I went quiet, and her mic decided to stop push to talking.
Oh.
And I asked, what are you doing?
I'm lamenting only being able to bring 3 books and
3 books for a week. Damn it.
For the first day.
And I'm dragging him and his books towards where we can rent some floaters, so we can go up to the caves for a picnic.
Oh, that's awesome. That is the greatest thing ever. I love that it's the two of you are heading up toward on some floaters, heading up, like there's this marked area of some beautiful caves with a view from one side that oversees the resort and the ocean, and if you take the short hike through the cave, the other side of it overlooks what was the active in the inner caldera of the volcano. So you could have your picnic in either place. And when you arrive up there, your scene lasts us a little bit longer, because when you arrive up there, there is a fellow on the right at the entrance to these caves that you find. There is a Rysian fellow, dark, kind of like a dark copper skin. He obviously is out in the sun a lot, and he you as you land your floaters nearby, and he says, "Now, I don't recognize either of you. Hi, I'm Pavel."
Oh.
Pavel?
I really, so if you're new to Risa, are you new to Risa? Have you ever been here before? Have you ever gotten to play hide and seek in this glorious, beautiful place?
No, I can't say that I ever have.
Well, and that's just what we're going to have to do today. I am very, very good at hiding. So I see you've brought something to eat. After we're done eating, you should come and try to find me, I think. Remember, you'll find me where it gets foggy in the morning. Enjoy your picnic. and he smiles at both of you. And if you remember in the one real Risa episode we ever got on television that I remember, they gave them something like Hawaiian Lays, or didn't they? Didn't they?
Yeah,
give...
was it Enterprise or TNG? But I remember
it was TNG and Deep Space Nine, actually. Now that I think of it, that gave us those episodes. But yeah, he.
Well, we did get an Enterprise episode on Risa.
Okay, we did. All right. What he does is he's got like this bandolier with a bunch of those hanging on them, and he takes one off for each of you and offers you each basically a flowered lei to have around your necks, and leaves you to have your picnic wherever the two of you want to have it.
Thanks. We will be sure to look for you later.
I had to include Pavel. He's one of the best things of the Risa map.
You have come find me, yes? I'm Pavel. You're playing my game of hide and seek, and we'll drink Tranya.
He was better when the day and night cycle still existed, but he's still a really fun part of that map, in my opinion.
I got that accolade so long ago that...
But you recognize it. So we really have we really have one of your crew who ends up drawing a good deal of attention. And just by being them, so the cafe, Marcus, has to fill up.
Just one little side note, though. If we're gonna go for Lieutenant Tardigrade, he has left the cafe because he spotted.
Because you said, I was going to say, I was going to come back to where you had said Marcus and Lieutenant Tardigrade were in the cafe together.
Yeah,
because he has a harpoon, even though it has a huge cork on the end of it. He's got a lot of people looking at it like,
Oh yeah, he doesn't necessarily have the harpoon like out. It's like a collapsible unit that's in his suitcase.
Oh, right on.
So that's already been stored away. They transported it to the room. So it's basically just Tardigrade, his little uniform. He's still full Starfleet uniform, but he saw Kendra dragging Quentin, and he went to follow him. Like, I want to be a good security officer. So, but he gets stuck in line for the floaters. So he is now getting equipped with the floater himself by himself. Marcus is still in the cafe.
Okay.
So Lieutenant Tardigrade is trying out the floater, and I think we'll probably need to do a roll for whether or not this is successful.
Yeah, let's see if Lieutenant. That's the next thing that we see is Lieutenant Tardigrade taking to the skies.
No, we got to roll for it.
He may just faceplant and fall into the water. That's possible.
Oh, I'm just saying, like he's getting equipped for it. So he hasn't taken off, because it'd be dangerous if he was just sort of like shot up into the sky, and now we find out if he's going to work. But it's now just going to be, can he use the floater?
Okay, I'm going to say that would be that's one of those what would
probably a control con, because it's controlling a vehicle.
No, you're right. It is like controlling a vehicle. I'm going to go with that. Control and con for Tardigrade is 8 plus 1, so his target is 9. He'd face plant. Yep, he face plants. That is definitely a result that says he face plants.
Yeah, so he just goes up a little bit and then face plants onto the promenade. So at this point, he's not going to be. He's going to say like, okay, this is not for me. So he's going to not use the floater. So he's now just sort of like in the middle of like the promenade, or wherever, like that little area they've got down below for sort of all the little equipment. So he is now just sort of like looking around like, uh-oh, I'm all alone. I don't know what to do. I'm a little tardigrade in this big place.
Wow. I am wholly interested in what does Lieutenant Tardigrade end up doing right now? How does he deal with like where he is?
So
I would say that he gets the feeling, because he's Lieutenant because of what I think of as like their abilities and what his abilities would be. I would imagine he would feel that the people around him genuinely have one of two emotions toward him, and that's either they want to help or they are not concerning themselves with him at the moment.
I'd say under the situation, he's going to be feeling pretty nervous. So he's actually going to try to get to a sort of a quiet space. So he's going to try to find somewhere there aren't as many people.
Okay.
Does he need to roll for that?
No, because from where people were renting these floaters, there are wooden stairways that lead. One leads down into a very shallow swimming area, and one leads down onto a kind of a small beach. The beach is between walking docks. It is open to the sea there, but it is smaller, and there are not nearly as many people there as there are on the docks or on the other beach.
So he's going to go to that beach.
Okay.
But he's going to so I think I know where you're trying to set this up on the map, but as soon as he gets to the sand, he's going to poke it. He's going to poke the sand. He's never seen sand before.
Oh, that's awesome.
So he pokes the sand.
He's got, we begin to see Lieutenant Tardigrade exploring an environment, Ensign Tardigrade exploring an environment that he has never found himself in before. That is awesome. So, meanwhile, as we've taken a look in at everyone else, meanwhile, back in the cafe, like, what did Marcus do when Tardigrade walked out the door and left?
He's just gonna just hang out. Like, that's his sort of mentality right now. Of he just needs himself a place just to sort of relax, not be sort of the captain. So he's just gonna be he's in sort of a casual wear. So he's got a light jacket on, nothing Starfleet logoed. So he's just sort of found a spot, just has not even the data pad. He's just sipping a drink of some kind.
Awesome. You are aware that there are a couple of other people. One is there are two other tables. There are people sitting at tables, and you're sitting at like a service bar, maybe. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. There at one of the tables, there's a couple, appears to be a Rysian and a human. And at another table, there is, or pretty certain, it's a Klingon. He's in relaxed vacation gear, but ever since you came in and sat down, he's shifted his attention from the other human to both you and the other human. And that's just been the way it's been for like the last 15 minutes or so, when you're aware of another person coming in and sitting at the seat next to you. She is beautiful, by the way. I I hesitate ever to like describe beauty because it's a subjective thing. In this case, she's beautiful, not necessarily because um, certainly she's beautiful. That's all I can say. But you also just feel very drawn to her as she sits down. She is an Orion. She is dressed in she is dressed in kind of like classically Orion bikini type wear, but she also has a set of epaulets that are strapped around her underarms, off of which comes uh, like a small mini cape, like the kind of cape that comes down to like just where her butt is, not all the way down. And that is that has kind of a yellowish golden color to it with some sort of Orion. Imagine like people that might have like a Japanese kanji for like courage on a cloth or something. There's some sort of Orion symbol that you assume means something, unless you read and write Orion, which you very well might, given your background.
He can read it a little bit, but sort of at the where is the diner type level. He doesn't know, like, he knows enough to basically play tourist. Although I will correct you on one point. Marcus is not drawn to her. So that is one thing, because, yeah, so he's been a little distracted lately.
Not necessarily in a she's Orion, so you're drawn to her way.
Yeah, but just sort of the intention is like...
She just walked in with a presence.
Yes.
Is what I'm getting at. Like, everybody, at the very least, notices her walk in.
So, at this point, Marcus, and we'll get to Ryk'tyr in just a sec, but Marcus is going to draw his attention to the Klingon.
Okay.
And he's just sort of like, he's going to try to sort of project that, like, I'm just here to relax, but he's just kind of keeping a little bit of a tab on what the Klingon is, how the Klingon is responding to this person.
Okay. He stops paying attention to the two of you humans, and he gets a smile on his face and he's got a drink in front of him that is in a frosty mug. It's not a glass. It's a mug that has obvious, like, the mug itself is the ice for the drink, and so you don't really know exactly what he's drinking. It has an amber color to it, and she obviously gets his attention when she walks in, and it makes him smile and relax a little and take a drink of his drink. That's what the Klingon does.
And Marcus is just going to continue just keeping his attention, like, I want to see if this person does anything. But just sort of like, he's also trying to stop himself from doing this, but it's just sort of that feeling of wanting to get away from command, but also seeing this as like, I should probably
be on, like, I should probably remember that we actually are here on a mission, right?
Well, more specifically, he's thinking, like, is this something that's related to the mission? So it's like, okay, here's a Klingon, here's an Orion, they're both pretty conspicuous, and the Klingon has just expressed a sigh of relief at this person entering the bar. So there's a question of, was he expecting her?
Okay, make a, let me bring up Marcus's character sheet. I think, now Baz probably should help me on this one. I think this is an insight command again. This is like reading body language and what's happening in the room.
Yep, that works.
Okay, so your target number is 12, and see any focuses that apply. So your target number is 12. One success is enough to tell you that is affected by the same thing that is making you start to say, I kind of want to like just relax and have a vacation, but I also like, is this something you realize that are subtly, probably because you also already had like another interest when she walked in, you're probably subtly being affected by her pheromones. He is non-subtly being affected by her pheromones as you realize that the Rysian and the human, the Rysian and the other human, they also are non-subtly being affected by her pheromones. Everyone else's attention has turned to her, including the barkeep, who asks, in a very deferring way, what can I get for you? She orders a drink, asking for whatever the Rysian version of an Orion sunrise might be, and then she turns to look at you and look more at like the back of your head actually for a moment and say, well, I got everyone else's attention. Hello.
At this point, Graves is seriously debating just like, sorry, I got to get going. Like just completely brushing this off.
Mm-hmm.
But he's going to scoot down the bar a little bit. But he's gonna try to maintain this conversation of just like, okay, let's just like, this is technically not being on duty, so he's just gonna sort of proceed through the forms of this socialization. So he's gonna say, hey.
All right. So I personally have no interest in surfing. I have no interest in flying around, but I do have interest in people who do not seem to have interest in me. It's not usually how it goes. Her hair is a blonde in color, kind of that you would almost call light brown. It's that thin line between light brown and dirty golden blonde is the color of her hair.
Okay, like I'm just gonna actually search through my screenshot roster real quick, but yeah, just so just to sort of set up what Graves is doing here. Answer to that, Kendra, is yes, but there's some character stuff too going on. Marcus.
I think I know what's going on in character.
Yeah, so
Orions have a syndicate, and Marcus knows all about it.
He knows all about it, and he's just kind of annoyed by Orions, and just sort of he's never really gotten along with them because he's always been at that level of they are like the people he's interacted with just tried to pry him a little. Like it's always using the pheromone. Like his thing is using the pheromones in the socialization to leverage other species. He basically views it as like a form of cheating or telepathy that people haven't caught on to yet. So he's going to be pretty experienced with like how to control himself under the circumstances.
I think this is great. I really do. I think this is awesome.
So the one thing Graves is going to do, he's like on the inside of his, like he lifts up the inside of his jacket where his comm badge is. So he basically just says at that point, he says like, he just says Starfleet, been on command or been on tour for quite a while, and I'm just trying to resume some kind of normality.
Yeah, something just dropped off there at the end. Starfleet, been on tour.
Been on a tour, and I'm just looking to try to find my feet again.
She reaches into imagine that she's got one of those like Orion, like It's not an Orion-styled bikini. What it is a Rysian-styled bikini with she's draped her own Orion jewelry and medals around it. So she's uh, she's combined the two styles a little bit. She's not wearing any sort of headdress or anything else, but she reaches just inside of the just inside of one of the breasts of the bikini, and she brings out in two fingers and sets it down on the bar in front of her a small communicator that you recognize. It's kind of a boxy shape with a long rectangle that comes off of it, and you recognize it as a syndicate communication device. And she sets that down on the bar, and she goes, "Great, now all our cards are on the table. I work for the syndicate. I've been out in space for a very long time with some very green men. I don't like green men. So when I heard about this vacation possibility, I decided to come here and try to find some pink ones."
I just posted something in chat. I do actually.
And she says, "Buy you a drink?"
Marcus just kind of leans back and says, "Sure."
Nice. So we fade away from that scene with an Orion, with an Orion buying Marcus drinks in a cafe, and we come back up on the beach where, Chaplain, you really have found maybe the most beautiful planet that you have ever been on. The background emotions of this place, Chaplain, are just brilliant. Everyone's happy. It's almost like they're on happy pills, but they're not really on happy pills. And that's just the situation that you're in. Quentin and Alenis, you are coming out of your.
Hold on.
I know. I was trying to give you the thumbs up in chat just to say this is where everybody is, and then land on Rick. So, Chaplain, you're on the beach. Eli, you're seeing every card game you could possibly want. Kara, you're seeing Risa in its fullest. The food was fine, and you also happened to be present when like a surfboard powerboard race goes off underneath you. And as I said, the two Quentin and Alenis, you're finishing up your picnic. You still have floaters on rental. You can kind of go anywhere on the island. And Ryk'tyr, what are you doing on Risa at this moment?
Well, Rick's in some modified board shorts, got a long towel draped over his shoulder, and he is on the beach, looking out, watching the powerboard races, but also putting together sticks and shells and other structural and ornamentation necessary for building a sandcastle.
Awesome. In fact, because that's what you start to do, it becomes very easy for Rick to find out there is a sandcastle building contest that happens around noon every day that is often attended by newcomers to Risa, and so basically in another hour there's going to be a sandcastle building contest, and you're just in the process of setting up for it. That every day that happens, it's a combination of Rysian children and newcomers to Risa all building sandcastles in an area of beach near the promenade, where there's you recognize, because you're an actual engineer, you recognize that there's no way that many broken sticks and that many piles of leaves and that many patches of the exact kind of right sand exist all in the same area. Like, there's just no way. You know that this is something that they probably didn't even have to terraform it, really. They probably just keep this area full of everything you need to build really good sandcastles. And really, with a lot of like wonderful time passing on Risa, I'd like you to make a building sandcastles roll.
So control engineering.
Yeah, I was thinking control engineering.
What's my difficulty? 16, I think.
Let's see, what do you have as far as focuses? I don't know that any of them would apply, but you never know, right? And none of them would apply. No. Sandcastles are not experimental technology.
Okay, rolling for 2 successes.
You build yourself a point of you build your group rather a point of momentum. That's wonderful. You have your first point of momentum, and you build a really nice sandcastle. I'm only going to make one roll here, and this roll is for the champion sandcastle builder. So it's 2d20, the target, and then what's the number after it? Is that the complication range?
The next number is critical success. The number after is complication.
Oh, okay. Oh, he got 2 successes, just like you. You tie with a Rysian kid who's 10 years old for having the best sandcastle on the beach. And he offers to teach you how to build better sandcastles. A little like when you do so well in the sandcastle building contest, he's like, you've got potential. He's like really proud of his ability to build sandcastles. Kind of like that's his thing. And he's like that kid who's like, you're pretty good at building sandcastles. I mean, to teach you more.
Yeah, Rick is going all in on this. He like asks like specific questions about specific parts. How did you get that kind of thing to sit just quite right and all that kind of stuff. He is definitely getting into that kind of in-depth discussion with a 10-year-old about engineering.
You find out that Rysians physically age about the same speed as humans, but just a little bit slower. He's actually 14 years old. And he's been building sandcastles since he was 3. So he's saying he's proud of been building sandcastles for more than 10 years. And he does have some of it is just he has a real sense of artistry and what he's doing and how he used the wet leaves and things like that. But something that you may have a chance to notice interacting with this with this Rysian young teen. Let's see your character sheet. Call it an insight and call it insight command. That way you've got a fair to average chance of it. Insight command is an 11, and you have no focuses that apply. Yes, whoever wrote that in chat just now, Kara, yes. This kid is, you make your roll here. Oh my God, what does he get? Target of 11.
3 successes, yes!
Yes, this kid is like a little prodigy. He is instinctually really, really good at engineering. It's just something that you notice. It's definitely his skill. and you have picked that up, and you can take that however is important to you. Kara, I saw somewhere in chat that Kara may pass by where Chaplain Whateley is on the beach. Yes.
Actually, I was just joking around. That wasn't intended.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that would have been hilarious. Make that suggestion.
We can okay. We'll still do that. But I was going to do something else as well. Is that okay for me to combine the two small things?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the first thing Kara does is she goes by Chaplain Whateley, notices him lounging under the colorful umbrella in his black shorts and black shirt and black sunglasses and black shoes, and says, I think I know a drink that you might like. It's called the Black Prince. I think it would suit your current look.
And he just glowers at her and takes another sip of his very brightly colored Loco Unicorn cocktail and goes back to staring at the sea.
And actually, I think I might like one of those. Kara wanders over across the beach in her swimsuit to a nearby little hut where, just a local vendor has set up. She goes and leans on the bar, looks at the hut, looks back at the beach, does a double take, looks back into the hut, blinks twice. Haasra? Is that you? I thought you were back on, and she trails off.
I need a moment. It's getting the voice.
I like it. That's a good place. That's a good place for Haasra to be. A good reason, as I messaged you earlier this week, Duncan. A good reason for Haasra to be on planet is he runs a bar, and there are a lot of bars and restaurant areas opening on Risa in the next year, and people are putting in bids. So he could possibly be there trying to get a spot on Risa.
So he responds with, "Yes, Haasra is here. Haasra has an exciting new business opportunity. Would you like to try it?"
Is it colorful and likely to put me in an altered state of consciousness?
Quite precisely. It is very colorful, and the altered state of consciousness is being well reviewed so far by our initial test subjects.
I'll take 3.
3 may be excessive, but we shall try. So, here is Haasra's microbrewery. We use very specialized replicator technology, plus this crystal thing that we have found. It has so far had the most unusual interaction with the drinks, but we shall see how it interacts with 3 at the same time. Notice the power levels go way up, much higher than we expect, but this is probably safe. So you see, the sparks go into the drink, very colorful, yes? They start out a light brown. This is normal brew. The crystal then interacts in a way that we think may be similar to a replicator, but we are not sure yet. So the sparks go into the drink turns blue, then red, then goes on fire a little bit, and then back to blue, before turning yellow in the middle, and then green around the outside. Now here's your drink 1, drink 2, and drink 3.
Kara looks down happily at what she's been given and over at the strange contraption that Haasra has built. Haasra, you are a galactic treasure. Never change.
We shall see.
And then she goes to take a drink of the first one.
This absolutely needs to be a roll. You got to max out the difficulty.
I'm okay with that. Let's make it a roll. You're drinking a drink made by Haasra. Kara has what would you call this one, Baz? Sorry, my microphone was pushed away from my face, and I just realized it. What would you call drinking a strong drink, Baz, as far as a roll goes?
Depending on how you want to frame it, would it be like a more sturdiness of the body, fitness, the body processing it well, or is it more of a mental?
I think I'm going to call it fitness and it's a fitness and I'm going to go fitness command. How is that?
Yeah, I think that's the best option.
Your target number is 10.
2 successes. Needs 2. Not just 1. This is a tough roll.
This is a very alcoholic drink.
Can I spend one of my determination points?
Yes, you have an automatic success to begin with.
What value are you calling on for this? Because you need to define it to a value.
Life is fragile. That would work for me.
Alrighty then.
Really, as you smell this and you're about to drink it, you could invoke Life is Fragile for an automatic success.
Is there anything living in the drink? I could also say the study and conservation of biology.
Just make the roll. You got 1 automatic success.
Fail.
It's an automatic crit. So he's already passed it.
Cool.
Oh, wait, no. Hippie, use a threat.
Oh, I could use a threat. I am going to use a threat to... What can I do with a threat? I'm trying to think. What can I do with a threat here, Vaz?
Well, you can probably change the roll a bit. You could create a complication so there is still like a minor effect.
I like the complication.
I like the complication.
I like this. All right, so you drinking the drink, you do not immediately pass out. Although you are 100% certain, there have been times in your life if you had had a drink like this drink that you just drank, you would have passed directly out. In fact, you think you still know many people who would pass directly out by drinking this drink. You instead become immediately intoxicated, although still in control of the actions that you take while you are intoxicated. Whatever was in this drink has the effect of metabolizing. Is that the word I'm looking for? The alcohol into your system faster. Like someone, Cass just wrote in chat, like having your brain smashed by a large gold brick wrapped in lemon. Yeah. So you just like a transgalactic gargle black.
Okay, so Kara takes a big swig off this, comes back. She's got like green kind of, drink across her upper lip. Whoa, that's good squishy.
Okay. Whoa, that's good.
Larissa, you got to try this. She slides the second drink towards Larissa.
Oh, damn. Now Larissa has to make that roll.
Ha!
Because she is not going to say no. And it was what, Presence Command that we went with?
Fitness Command.
Fitness Command was what we went with. Oh, that's better. For Larissa, that's a little better than what you had. Not by much. She gets 2 successes. She just drinks it and says, that's pretty good.
Haasra, this is great stuff. Hey, Larissa, you think we should bring the other one to Marcus or Chaplain Whateley?
Should buy some of this. Take back to the ship.
Hell yeah.
This has not been approved for interstellar transport, but if you plan to consume it while in orbit, the transport officials may not catch you.
Oh. We can only, so this is a special. We can only have this here drink, Kara. Give us both another one. And Larissa buys you another drink that you will have to drink.
Okay. Also, Kara looks over at Larissa. Hey, you were looking up that Corvette thing. Those panels you can hide things under. Can we get some of those in the Reliant?
Then we could. And you and Larissa start having a drunken conversation in front of Haasra.
About smuggling his drink out of system.
About how you could smuggle things. Yeah.
So they still got to roll for the second drink.
Yeah, I agree. They slapped the roll for the second drink. Only this time, instead of 2 successes, you need 3 successes because you're already drunk. She has no automatic successes. Larissa is really drunk, and so is Kara. The two of you are not really in control of yourselves right now. You're sitting at a bar on Risa, drunk as hell. And meanwhile,
Actually, I just like they're leaning against each other and starting to sing while drinking.
I think that sounds really cool. And meanwhile, Quentin and Kendra, you've finished your picnic, and have you made any decision about whether you want to go try and find uh, Pavel?
Sweetie, are we really going to go looking for that person? I have reading to do.
I don't know. He seemed kind of strange.
Strange is an understatement. Are you okay?
I'm fine. I don't know. I guess we should do something fun while we're here. It
What?
shouldn't take that long to find him, right?
I don't know. I don't do this sort of thing. You know that.
Do we have to do a roll?
Yes. Both of you, because you have floaters right now, both of you will have a chance to make is a perception insight command. Baz, does that sound right?
For figuring out where to go with the clue
With the clue that they have combined with flying around looking. Does that sound right? Insight command.
Yeah, I will allow it. Sort of like, okay, where you sort of get the information you need, where like finding where that might be. Yeah, I'll allow that. I think that's good. Well, not that I will allow it, but I support that decision.
But that sounds right to you.
Yeah.
So in this case, both of you, it looks like, have a 14 as your target number. Let me double check that. Oh, no. Sorry, wrong character. I opened up the wrong one. There we go. Both of you indeed have a 14. Alenis, you have survival, which makes your critical range anything that is 4 or below. Oh. Whoa. Whoa. That's in your case, actually, Kendra, that's 2 critical successes. And that's a lot of momentum. I'm adding it in my mind right now because between you needed 2. And so that builds 4. That builds 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. That builds 6 momentum for you guys.
So we're at max momentum now.
Yes, without a doubt, you are at max momentum from that roll. Holy cow! Science, the resort pamphlet, his clue of you'd find him where the fog hides things, all of it together, plus flying, it actually, in a strange way, is kind of fun. Because you're flying around the island looking for looking for this place where this person might be hiding. It actually, in a strange way, has its own little charm. And looking at the brochures and looking at the maps and everything else that you see, you find a place down far behind the other side of the volcano. But behind, far away from where the resort and everything is, there is an area of a river that cuts the island in half, that is just covered in like mist and fog. And as you land, like you notice that this place is obscured by fog, and there is a small cave here. First met him in a small cave. Maybe he likes small caves.
The grotto.
And going inside, however, my only question is, are either of you in any way using your tricorders
Likely cast.
in either? Yeah, probably. I'm thinking probably. No, are you using your tricorder in this search is my question.
I would probably have it at the very least for the local environment
Okay.
checks.
Roll an iScience it check, which in this case is going to be what would be the right check for your tricorder skills being Baz? What would be the right check for your tricorder skills being like so good that even though you're not looking for a specific something, you pick up a specific something in an area?
Let's just say reason.
I
Science.
was going to say reason science. Right on. Your target number is 15. None of your focuses apply. And that's for, there we go. One success. One success is all it takes. There are readings that indicate that there have been a fair number of people in this cave. Prints that say the same thing once you pick up on the readings that say there were a fair number of people in this cave. There were also at some point I think there were crates. There's like a little central area in this like underground grotto. And there's an area on that like central island spot where it looks like there were a couple of crates, and we're obviously not too long after whatever happened, but the evidence of it, literally you pick up the absolute last evidence of it. Somebody transported something out of this cave. You guys do not find Pavel here.
Kendra taps her comm badge. Captain?
Okay.
We didn't hear the last bit.
Kendra taps her comm badge was what I heard. I
Captain?
didn't hear the rest of it.
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
I can hear
You
you.
keep cutting out a little bit too early. So are you using push to talk or the Discord's automatic voice
I'm
detect?
using the automatic because I tried push to talk and then my mic wouldn't work at all.
Okay.
So we're getting her on the recording. She's just saying captain.
Yeah, that was all I said was
Okie
captain.
dokie. Okay, Graves is going to tap his comm badge. Graves here.
Actually, Kendra, do not receive a reply from the captain. You'll find
we
out
didn't get
why.
any.
You'll find out why.
We didn't get any of that. I just heard middle and then a little bit of end.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you guys hear me now?
I heard all of
Heard
it.
him?
Okay.
The Kendra does not get a reply from Graves.
Getting anything on my communicator. Hey, hun, I'm gonna go up in the air for a second and see if maybe something in this cave might be blocking the signal for my communicator.
Okay, be careful.
Hey, who do you try to contact when you step outside the cave?
I try to contact Graves again.
No response. You receive back that his communicator is receiving your messages. However, unless communications are being tagged as emergency communication, he doesn't want. It's like basically imagine your comm badge has a do not disturb.
Our combat
setting.
do not disturb settings.
Imagine that the only way you're going to get through to Graves' comm badge right now is if you send it as a priority signal.
Kendra, not knowing what's going on, taps her comm badge and says, "Larissa, come in."
If I may.
You may. Larissa is incapable at the moment of responding, but she grabs a hold of the front of your jacket and holds your face near looking at her comm badge. So basically your face is right there near her comm badge, and she's she's expecting you to talk. She's like, talk to her. It's like some conspiratorial little, she can't know we're drunk. You talk to her.
You basically just hear drunken singing. And eventually you start to understand that the song is another Irish drinking song by an old obscure Earth band. And then the communicator cuts out as if shorted out by something.
Oh, great. Tardi, come in.
Lieutenant Tardigrade scravels back up to the surface. So he's on the beach. He has, in the intervening time, he has explored his new habitat. So he has learned that he can burrow into the sand, although it fills up quickly. So he doesn't burrow far. He only submerges himself. So then he'll scrabble along forward and leave these long trails in the sand as he's burrowing through. He still has his communicator, although at this point he has made contact with the Ryzen equivalent of hermit crabs. So he is trying to initiate communications with them, talking very slowly and very carefully with the universal translator. But he halts his diplomatic proceedings to tap his combat and say, Ensign Tardigrade here.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt your vacation, but I seem to have a job for you.
He says he's saluting.
I like that. I'm saluting. That's what I imagine.
Very good, very good. Okay, Tardi, here's what I need you to do. First, I need you to find the doctor and have him make up one of those concoctions he uses on himself whenever he gets drunk to sober him up. And have him administer it to Larissa, and it sounds like Kara also. Then I need you to see if you can find the captain.
I'm saluting again. Aye, ma'am.
Report back to me once you've done those things, please.
This is awesome because now we can cut to Eli. Actually, if that's cool, that's like a perfect time to cut to the gambling.
Cool. The only thing I'll add is that before we move on, Ensign Tardigrade bows to the crabs and then leaves to pursue his duty.
Oh, this is such a fun episode. Okay, so we're going to take, I'm going to call it a 10-minute break if that's how much people would like. We come back up in this heretofore unseen floor of the main resort on Risa. It is like the mezzanine floor in a 5-star hotel. It's the turbo lifts after the first 20 or 30 feet up change to a transparent glass that is only transparent on your side and makes everything. You're able to look out at the lobby, and you're seeing the lobby in kind of a hue of golden color, which is color of the the color of the towers and walls and such of the main room. So you're probably where the turbo lift is going up. You're behind one of those, but it allows you to see out, and it's a really kind of a nice view of the lobby and the also of the fountain that's in the lobby, and then also how it connects to the room where most of the gambling happens, and then you're up to the room that's a mezzanine, which as it overlooks that kind of green ceiling, and you see every conceivable card game, including the poker that you're looking for, Dr. O'Connor. And you are not the only one dressed like you are.
Oh no!
Not the exact same outfit.
Good.
It's not the exact same outfit, but there are other people here that obviously spend their money. They make gambling look fancy, and so there's like different Landos here, essentially. You see one guy who is a Boolean. He's got a kind of like a blue puffy shirt, and he's one of the people sitting at the. So his skin is kind of that pale Boolean blue, and he's got like this darker, like not quite midnight, maybe more navy blue. That for the color, and it looks he just looks really kind of cool. There's a Vulcan sitting at the table with a big smile, and it looks like he's doing most of the winning. There's a Nausicaan wearing a respirator mask. Sorry, there is a Nausicaan wearing a respirator mask at the table as well, and he's very, very easily you can see that he's probably a mercenary because he does have a sleeve badge on, but he's just kind of let it hang on his sleeve without a whole lot of care. He does obviously work for the KDF. They're also at the table, so you have 5 opponents. You have a Vulcan, a Nausicaan, a Boolean, one of Morn's race, looks female, and a Ferengi. Ferengi would be played by Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci.
And theirs is the table that has an open seat. And as you were asking around, people were told that you were looking for the high stakes game. And so you were directed to this Ferengi whose name is Brax. And he tells you that, yes, I have a spot at my table. What's your name? And offers for you to sit down with those 5 people to play a few hands of poker.
Dr. O'Connor. Nice sit down.
They all give you a name. The one that definitely stands out though is the Nausicaan. His face mask isn't exactly they're not breather masks. They're more of like actually a piece of armor for their lower face. You've never really been up close with a Nausicaan before. So this is probably also maybe the first time that you're seeing what one of those face masks looks like up close. And his is the only name that stands out. His name is Mac. He's a Nausicaan with a very simple human-sounding name like Mac. But he says it differently. There's a different like on the end with the Mac. The knife, right? And so you begin to play poker with these individuals. The person who is of the same race as Morn, she doesn't say anything except like call, pass, fold, raise. That's the only words you hear her say the whole time. Eli, what would be the appropriate gambling roll, Baz?
Wait, would she even speak, or would she just make the traditional hand gestures?
She probably, you're right, Nord, there. She probably does like the card tap and anything else. She uses traditional hand gestures, doesn't say a word. You don't hear her speak.
I love this.
What is the appropriate role for gambling, Baz?
Well, it depends if you think it's more of a intellect, reasoning, planning, or a instinctual insight, or perhaps even a more controlled, not to give off hints kind of thing. How do you reckon that she would play this?
This is, for you, Eli, this is going to be a reason, because it could be, like, depending on the game, it could end up being, like Baz just said, but I'm going to say it's depending on the game. With these players, you quickly realize that, one, you brought down, how much in galactic credits to gamble when you arrived down here. That much that you brought down is the buy-in for this game. So you're like, wow, this is big stakes. So against these particular players, it becomes a reason command, which is very good for you. It's a 15.
All right, should I roll that now?
Yeah.
Do I get anything from being an empath and doing this? Like, nobody suspects it either. Trill aren't normally empaths.
That's true.
Like, if I were a beta zoid,
what does the empath talent read? How does it read?
Give me a second. I gotta bring that up. Sorry, I wasn't.
My thinking on how I want to play the empath talent is, when you decide to use it, I will cue you in on the emotional state of one of the other players, or choice.
Well, remember that it states that empath doesn't really get turned off. It's always on.
Right.
I could make a joke there, but I'm bigger than that.
Lol.
Okay, I just looked up. You can sense the emotions of living beings nearby and communicate telepathically with other empaths and telepaths, as well as those whom you are extremely familiar. Cannot choose not to sense the other's emotions of those nearby, except for those who are resistant to telepathy. You said there's a Ferengi here. That's, like, the only challenge.
Mm-hmm. So, what I will do is I will, you'll make your gambling roll, and, I'll also make gambling rolls, I suppose. And you can ask any questions you want about the emotional states of the other 5 players at the table besides yourself.
Alright, so I'm doing my roll now.
Your target number is 15 from what I'm reading.
Oh, damn!
You have 2 successes in the first round. First player against you has 2 successes. The second player against that is the Boolean, by the way. Second player against you is probably one of the most frightening at the table, and you learn this. You learn what they're like as you play against them. The first one is the Boolean, and he seems like your kind of card player. The second one is the Vulcan, and he is just out of control good at poker. You can tell that, and you can tell that by what I'm assigning to them as their numbers or their rolls. The Orion, which is the which is the one that is Morn's race. Yep, fortunately, the Vulcan got shit cards. A little bit of luck played a part. Valorian doesn't do very well in that first round at all. However, she does still have enough credits left to still be at the table. The Nausicaan, one success, loses some of his money. And then the Ferengi. Successes, he also only gets shit cards. You do pretty well in the first little bit of time that you're playing poker with these people. And now, so I can tell you this. The Ferengi is up money. Nausicaan is down money. Valorian is way down. Vulcan is way up. And the Bolian about an even game in terms of where they're at, and you are up some, or a little richer than you were when you sat down at the table. You want to read their emotions? You just got to tell me who you want to read, because here's the thing: you're feeling all of them, feeling everybody in the rooms, and there's this general people are here enjoying themselves. All of the people at your table certainly have the feeling of enjoying themselves. Even the Lorian, who just lost a ton of money on that first couple of hands. So, are there any specifics you want to ask about any of those five?
The Vulcan.
Vulcan. The Vulcan is shrewd. He is. Get the feeling that he's very calculating and has a very strong confidence that he can win this whole table. He knows for a fact that he is a better poker player than everyone except for the Ferengi and possibly you, because he doesn't know you. He knows all the rest of them are people. You get the impression that they all gamble professionally, and they know each other. And you're the guy who just sat down at the table. They all seem to be having a good time. That's the main thing. And the Vulcan is shrewd. He knows that he can win this poker game. You're like a random element that he is not prepared for. That's what you get about the Vulcan. He came here willing to win this game, and you realize that there's something that he wants, and what he wants is specifically from the Ferengi. Ferengi has a guaranteed winner's ticket on a Corvette giveaway auction. Not auction, what is it called? Raffle. The Ferengi has the golden ticket. He wants to win that. You realize he wants to win something from the Ferengi, and then you realize the thing that the Ferengi is willing, the biggest thing he has in his arsenal to gamble with.
Well, I know what I want to win now.
Right. Go ahead and make another gambling roll and see how well you do. Do you want to use a determination of any kind? You might have... no, not really. None of your values could activate a determination. So, but the empath does help. So in this case, because you've begun to actively scan at least one of them, I'm going to give you one automatic success.
One automatic success.
I'm going to activate a threat and give you a complication range of 19 to 20.
So 2d20, and the complication, or the thing is 15, right?
15 with a complication range of 20, 19 and 20.
Okay, so I do it like this then, I think, right?
Oh my God!
I
Yeah.
screwed that up. I
Oh
think
no,
I
you did it correct.
Oh,
You rolled 2d20 with a 15. No. You did do it wrong.
shit.
You set the critical at 19, but I
Oh,
can read it. An 8 and a 3 is
well,
still
even at
three.
that,
Is still 3 successes.
yeah. I'm sorry about
oh
messing
my,
that up. Though.
no big deal.
And plus, with the one you said you gave me one automatic. All right, so that is four.
You have 4 successes. Let me roll on down here. Here is the Boolean. Boolean wins near as much money as you do this time around. You see that, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
The Vulcan, who, if he gets good cards this time, he, like, despite other people rolling well, might, oh man, as someone said earlier, luck plays a part. Vulcan did lost a bunch of money this round. And after this round, we're gonna say certain ones of them are eliminated, and you're down to what you're really playing for in the end. And the last one is Ferengi. Ferengi is probably the best player at the table next to the Vulcan, and he's out. So at the end of the game, Eli, you have managed to stay in the game. The Vulcan makes that mistake. Somebody in chat was talking about what being a professional gambler must be like. How you have no idea what the new guy at the table is all about, and he just made some money on that hand. Was it luck, or does he know what he's doing? And you're now having to wager your whole game on what you think is going on with the new guy. The Vulcan makes the wrong wager about you in one critical hand of the game, Eli, where you've got a brilliant hand that is gonna it ends up putting him right out of the game. And all he does is raises an eyebrow, looks over at you, and says, "Fascinating." As a kind of a little Vulcan bow type of thing as he stands up from the table and moves to being a game that in the end ends up being something amazing happens, because the Boolean also rolled 2 criticals there, and the Lurian gets put out of the game in the second round of hands that happen. The Ferengi holds strong right until the end, and then the Boolean does a thing you never thought he could possibly do, and he bluffs the Ferengi to the point that the Ferengi is all out of money, and he's calling for this final hand where he's got something he's putting up as collateral. And now you realize he's putting up this golden ticket. He explains to you guys what he's got and what he's putting on the table. It's a golden ticket that guarantees one of the 50 giveaway Isian Corvettes. You want to play that hand or walk away with your winnings, which are currently 2.5 times as much as you sat down with.
I gotta go for it.
Okay, make your roll.
Can I use any momentum?
Ask the group. You guys are.
Guys, can I use momentum?
Do it. Use all of it.
Woo,
all of it. Burn it.
I don't know burn it. I say burn it. Go ahead.
All right.
Okay, use all of it. Use all 6, get 3 extra dice.
Okay.
Situation with the cave. Do we want to use
Wait,
it
you
all?
said 3 extra dice?
Yes, this is the stupidest place we should use it.
There is
so
our
that's
Boolean.
5 dice in total, you said?
Yep. 5 dice in total.
Wait, can we do anything with determination?
Not with his values. None of his values stack up for being able to activate a determination.
Tied with that.
tie with the Ferengi, which means the two of you put the two of you put the Bolian out of the game, and the Ferengi is wipes his brow a little bit, but he knows that his beautiful new ship is still on the table. It's a showdown between the two of you. Oh no, the Ferengi only gets one success. Activate a threat. Can I re-roll dice with threat, Baz?
Oh, hold on. Can I use one of my abilities even though I'm not part of the team?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Marcus has an ability, I forget which one it is, but I can spend my point of determination to generate 2 momentum.
Cool.
Do I make that 3 dice then?
To make it 3 dice.
You can spend 2 dice to re-roll a 2 threat to re-roll 1.
Re-roll 1. Yeah, you get 3 dice, Eli. What do you give us?
Well, you messed that up. I'm just waiting until you get yours out of the way so I can...
Oh, whew. 2 successes.
Wait, that wasn't a success.
No, that wasn't a success. You didn't put in a...
I didn't put in a target number.
And it was a
19. It was a 19.
The Ferengi just got crushed.
Yeah,
Ferengi
got crushed.
You get right out. So you have to play this one like in a weird. You get like one of those perfect hands right out of the gate. And he trades in 3 cards and then gets really confident with what he gets back. And you know that he's going to figure out that, that you've got that kind of perfect hand if you don't throw something away. So you end up choosing the card that does the least amount of damage by throwing it away. And you end up drawing the same card of another suit, and you turn it, instead of like a royal flush, it just becomes instead of becoming a one sweet straight, or your cards become just a straight, but your straight is way up over the number of he just didn't have the cards, and he sits back and he says, "Oh, Eli O'Connor. You're going to have to remember that name." In addition to the money that the table automatically starts pushing over towards you in this kind of golden winner's ticket, in addition to that, he tosses a brochure looking thing onto the pile too, and he says, "That's the places we gamble. And when we gamble, I hope to see you again." And at that moment, Lieutenant Tardigrade comes running into the mezzanine floor where all of the gambling is happening with a message from Executive Officer Kendra Alenis.
So he patters up, just patters really quick. He needs to catch his breath because he's got short legs and not the best respiratory system for atmosphere. So he patters up. He's like, he salutes and says, "Dr. O'Connor, Lieutenant Kendra says I should immediately get you to make Kara and Larissa not be drunk anymore."
You came to the right place. I had to go back up to the ship anyway, because to deposit all my sweet, sweet loot, and I just gesture to my stuff and take the ticket, put it inside my...
inside of a pocket, and
a shirt pocket, like on the inside of my.
We end our gambling game there, and then
I like the idea that there are no chips on the table. It's at this point, it's just a massive pile of latinum.
No, I imagine it like. Hold on a second.
What do you imagine?
Hold on a second. I'm finding the picture of it.
Oh, right on. Cool. So it'll be a picture in chat. But we're going to be seeing Chaplain Whateley, who's pretty much kept to himself and enjoyed the beach. And I imagine with your strong sense of the emotions of people around you, being around such a wash of very positive and happy emotions is a nice experience for Whateley to go through. I imagine, unless you would say it differently.
That is exactly. I didn't want to come right out and say it, but yeah, that scene where he gets the orders and he starts reading over the psychological reports and everything, and he just like, what? This makes no sense. How does this exist? What? Reads it again. Okay, I know what I'm doing.
No, I'm going to try to connect to just relaxing, and while you're just relaxing, and your empathy and your powers of empathy and telepathy are allowing you to, without any kind of prying at all, experience what your relaxation feels like, because most everyone on the planet is like that. And then you feel there is one moment. I'm gonna have you make a roll to see if you can identify what the feeling is. One of your focuses does apply, and it's going to be reason medicine. So you have a 15 is your target number. 4 is where you get a critical. And psychology applies. So 2 successes. You build back one of your momentum. One momentum again. During feeling all of that, I'm not going to say that it's universally just a bunch of people relaxing. In some cases, it's people. There are business people here that are very focused on like getting their business a spot on this new like Rysian resort festival thing that's going on. There are people who aren't quite able to relax just yet, and with 2 successes, in addition to building the momentum, at one point during the late morning through the afternoon, somebody gets like really terrified somewhere on the island, like somewhere on the resort island. Somebody gets incredibly terrified. And, it very quickly goes back to the mainly overall feeling of relaxation happening on the island. And all of you begin to get a message in the evening at a spot that's been conceived as a huge bonfire. There is going to be a concert it's being called the Bonfire Concert, and it's kicking off what's being known as the Mayhem Tour, which is a whole bunch of independent music bands that are playing various places throughout the quadrant, and starting the show at like just as the sun is setting over the eastern side of the island will be Miranda and the Mayhems. And there's nobody really knows who any of these bands are. It's just a bunch of bands putting on a show, but everybody is invited essentially, and it's getting close to that evening time for all of you in whatever area that you are somewhere. And Chaplain, you become keenly aware that close by you, in an area of beach that not a lot of people were spending time on all day, a woman just got a pair of women actually just got horrified by something. And a moment later, there's a yell. One of them is yelling in kind of hyperventilating a little, and the other one is yelling for, "Is there some kind of security? We need some kind of security here." You are the only one that is incredibly close by.
Without thinking about it, his Starfleet training kicks in. He rushes to see what's going on.
You rush over. There's a guy in board shorts, a Rysian dude in board shorts, who they just the one who was like half hyperventilating looks at you as you come running over, and there are others running over too. And he says, "We were just gonna sit down and enjoy the evening because the sunset from here is so beautiful." And I saw his fingers first, and then and there's a body laying on the. One of the people that comes running over goes, "Awful." And Marcus, you wake up in the evening, cracking your back, and don't really have a whole lot of memory of exactly how it all ended. You do remember you do remember the Orion paying for a number of Parvel. Sorry. You do remember the Orion buying you a bunch of non-out. She didn't try to get you drunk once it was obvious you didn't want to get drunk. And once it was obvious you just wanted company, she stayed with you long enough to just be company. And she was actually a very good conversationalist. And when you started to get really tired, she bid you a good evening, a good afternoon, said that napping in the sun is some of the best medicine. The next thing you remember is the barista essentially telling you that he was going to be taking a break to go see the concert in the evening, and he had to go get changed. And but you were welcome to finish your rest here. And when you wake up, it's just the beginning of evening, Marcus, and it takes you a minute to adjust to things, and then you realize that there's blood all over your hands.
And he is he's checking himself for injuries, like around the wrist.
You start checking yourself for injuries around the wrist, and no, there's blood on your hands. And on the table in front of you, there's a hairbrush that has you obviously don't have any hair, really. You have a shaved head, but there's a hairbrush that has some red hairs in it, and it's pointed at the. It looks like somebody has taken the time to fashion this into a prison shiv. It's a thick hairbrush that has some red hairs in it, and it has blood all over it too.
Marcus is sort of like, he's looking at that, like, blood on his hands. He's really sort of like, is this real? He's trying to get, more light and just sort of, get his head together. Like, he is thinking, with everything that's been going on, is
you,
this...
Call for the lights, and the lights inside of the cabana come on, and the lights just show you that, hey, indeed, there's blood on my hands, and there's blood on the table, and a weapon with blood on it.
He's going to tap his comm badge and call for security.
Okay, for Reliant security, or are you going to call local security? All right, you call local security, and we're going to so we have Whateley there when they find this body on the beach. We have the captain now calling for local security, and we're going to do a bit of a fast. Just a tiny bit of a fast forward to get to when security arrives. Who framed Marcus Graves? Great name for the episode. The security, because it will take security a little bit of time to arrive there, and I guess my question would be, what else are people doing as those of you who are unaware of what's going on are unaware of what's going on, and may well be heading to a nice concert for the night of some kind.
I think that Larissa and Kara are unaware of existence right now.
Yeah, I think though.
Did
Right
Tardi
before,
ever report back
I was
to
gonna
me?
say, right before the evening, Eli is going to show up where the two of you are with tardigrade, and he has the "I'm going to make you sober" drug, or the "I'm going to make you sober" hypo.
There is screaming.
Drink, not a
I was
hypo.
like, no, and Larissa is like, if something's going on and we're needed, but otherwise, I mean, why don't you get drunk with us, Doc? And she's like, Tardi, why don't you get drunk too? And basically, until Larissa gets administered the I'm getting less, like what do we want to call that? Like the
It's
sober
wake-up
up
juice.
drug?
It's wake-up juice.
There we go. I like it.
It's literally not a hypo. I just mixed a drink. I did the Back to the Future thing.
Awesome. I like it. Larissa literally tries to get you to get drunk with her before you sober her up, and she's like, wow. And she looks at you, Kara. Haasra has since moved on to another bar, and he might even be at the concert. Haasra is Haasra, but he's no longer where the two of you are, and now the
if
two
there's
of
an
you are
ice
sober.
chest nearby, as soon as she drinks the concoction, Kara leaps up, screams, and sticks her head in the ice chest and starts chomping ice.
Nice. Will the two of you, Alenis and Quentin, you get no time to read all day. Alenis, tardigrade would eventually report back in that the doctor made them sober. And tardigrade would, I'm thinking Marcus, Duncan, decide this. After searching for the captain, that's what I was going to say, is that he knows he had the order of searching for the captain. Would he have continued to do that?
Yeah, so he is not going to let that one go of like all the orders. He's going to keep doing that because he's got to find the captain. A, because he's captain, but also B, he's Marcus. So he's going to just basically take care of the Larissa car situation to the point where he knows Eli's there. They can sort of sort that out. He's going to quickly report back. Eli is tending to Larissa and Kara, and not even almost wait for a reply there. He's just going to keep going and just sort of like search the promenade, sort of tapping on his comm badge, like continuously asking for Marcus.
Okay, so this is even better.
Also, one little thing to note there too, that while he's doing this, there's sad music playing. And he's just sort of like going from like stall to stall, just like looking for Marcus. He's got to go find Marcus.
This is even better. This is actually heartbreaking because Marcus isn't quite awake yet. Like I was thinking, Marcus wakes up and finds this, but no, Lieutenant Tardigrade finds Marcus in this cafe, sleep on a couch. He's not nothing. He's not drugged or anything. He hasn't been, he's not hurt, it doesn't look like. But his hands are covered in blood, and there's a bloody improv dagger on the table in front of him. And so as Marcus wakes up, he's being discovered by Lieutenant Tardigrade. That's heartbreaking, actually.
Yeah. And for Lieutenant Tardigrade, like he's walking in there, but he sort of like he notices like the knife and then Marcus, but his thought then is going to be Marcus is injured. I've got to check on him. So he's going to be like he'll be like inspecting, like he'll be sort of crawling over Marcus, like trying to like find where's the blood coming from, and then he's also going to be calling Eli at the same time, just really. Like Marcus, he's just saying Marcus is hurt. Marcus is hurt. But Marcus at this time is realizing he's not hurt, and he's just sort of waking up in the situation of like, wait, I'm here. There's blood on me. There's a knife on the table. Oh crap! And he's gonna make the call to security at that point, while Lieutenant is still making the call to Eli.
Nice. That would be because you would have already gotten Eli when he found. When he finds Marcus in that situation, he would call Eli immediately.
Well, he would sort of call him after he's like inspecting the blood and
Okay.
like not finding what's going on. He's going to be so flustered. Like Marcus is hurt, but he can't find the injury, but he's got to be hurt. He's not thinking about any other possibility.
Okay.
So that's like when he's like crawling over Marcus, that's when he's going to be calling Eli, but at the same time, Marcus is going to be calling security.
Whateley, you are there, and this is a few minutes, this is like very few minutes before when Graves is waking up. You're there as Rysian security arrives. One of those, call her the Vanessa Williams character from Star Trek Next Generation Season 1. The Vanessa Williams character on Risa. Just like her, looks like, dressed like she was. Basically guides the two women away and offers them all kinds of complimentary drinks and where they can stay and all. Basically that shouldn't have happened. And a woman basically looks like Rihanna, dressed in the same sort of clothing, who's Rysian, is offering to escort you back to the beach, asking if you need a room for the evening, anything like that. And she seems to have already she goes, if there's anything that we can do for you, Chaplain. She already knows who you are. She obviously has a pad, and it was like, okay, you must make this guest feel comfortable after finding a dead body. So she's like, is there anything that we can?
And this is before anybody else has shown up. This is basically moments after Whateley came over.
Security is showing up to deal with the body, and two other Rysian employees are showing up to be like, how do we smooth this over? You found a dead body.
So as soon as he came across the scene and realized what was going on, he was frantically slapping his communicator. Commander Graves, Commander Graves, Commander Graves, Commander Graves. This is Whateley for Graves. Whateley, Graves, please come in.
Okay, so just as the security is arriving, Graves, and beginning to tell you, we'll make that a whole scene. All of the rest of you are, whether you're at Miranda Mayhem show or not, word, I'm trying to figure out where people, because Lieutenant Tardigrade calls the doctor when he's still with Kara and Larissa.
I'm just going to assume that Kara and Larissa follow the doctor wherever he goes.
No, because I had contacted you and asked you to come to my location.
Come to where she is. Which puts the security team. So Larissa actually would be like, I could head out there and help you investigate the cave, Commander. There's two of us.
Actually, I'll go check the cave. You go see what's up with the doctor. He could use somebody watching his back, and I think you're a little better than me at that.
Of course. Either way.
Kara starts walking to the cave.
Rick, what are you gonna be doing in the early evening? Your captain gets arrested.
After spending a bit of time with the kid, talking about his engineering, encouraging him, seeing if he can, leave contact with parents or whatever, to for future contact to, help, if with whatever, if he were to go into Starfleet, which he's sort of encouraging.
Awesome.
He would have dropped his, signed up for the ship, and sort of just wandering around, just soaking in the atmosphere. And I guess he'll
Head to a bonfire party?
Yeah, eventually head to the bonfire party. Since he sees a lot of people going there, he'll join in there.
All right. Sorry, I was on the wrong tab for a second there. So, Ara would the last thing that I see in the afternoon is, of course, then Kara helping out at the cave in some way. What would the three of you that are out there like to look for? I'll say this: everything that I've already told you with the success you had earlier, aside from spending your momentum point to have like an additional question, you pretty much know everything that the cave can tell you.
But we also rolled like a perfect success for finding Pavel. So I'm a little confused as to how that plays in.
Oh, that's why you got all the information that you did. This cave has seen a lot of people, and recently, because they left footprints, that this cave has seen crates recently, and that someone used a transporter in this cave recently. That is, there are other things you could discover. You guys had 3 successes, wasn't it? When searching the cave. Those are like the biggest things you can find out, is that the cave has been used recently. And quite obviously, when you're looking for what Pavel's hiding spot would be, this cave is where Pavel would have come to hide, given the clue that he gave you, your ability to fly over the whole island and see that this is the area that like directly matched what he said. If you'd like to, you could also double check with any of the. There's one person out on a pier somewhere. It's out near the floater rental. Actually, there's a person that has a stand set up. That is essentially. It's probably you didn't even realize there was a person at the stand. It's where you grabbed your map. There's a person there with like festival information. So you could find out, we couldn't find Pavel, what did we miss? And that person could be like, no, that's totally the cave Pavel hides in. And then, you could confirm that you guys found the right cave. And inside of it, it looked like a lot of people in crates and transporters have been used. I mean, it by itself, it doesn't lead to being suspicious on its own. It could be suspicious.
My next move would be to contact somebody in charge and find out what the cave is besides Pavel hiding.
Okay. Stan Pavel basically does his own thing. He's authorized to give out. Pavel basically is a kid who grew up on the island, who loved hide and seek. It was just his favorite game ever. And when they were deciding to open this resort, Pavel put in an application to be an entertainer here. And he offered basically the unique experience of a hide and seek game. And if you could find him at all of the places that he could discover to hide on the island that he could give clues to, he would be authorized to give out like vacation paraphernalia and merchandise and stuff to people.
Now I'm sad. Now I regret saying we should.
that's who he was. That he's one of many entertainers on the island. Like there's a guy who runs is essentially a scavenger hunt looking for Horgon statues. He has to add at the end of telling you about the guy who does the Horgon hunt that he assures you that there are no official sex games associated with the Horgon hunt on Risa. It's like he says it like it's a disclaimer. That he has to say after the Horgon hunt.
And I redirect the conversation back and ask again about the cave.
About Pavel?
No, about the cave.
About the caves?
Specifically about the cave.
The cave is one of Pavel's hiding spots.
The question was, what if the cave is used for anything besides Pavel hiding? Generally.
No other entertainers, but a Ferengi who's been talking about a scavenger hunt showed some interest in potentially using it. He was putting in a bid for some of the island space in the on the north side of the island. He's wanting to move in, but potentially next year. But so far, Pavel's the only one who does things in that cave. It's a cave, after all. That's what you find out about Pavel.
Like, can I tell anything about who's been in the cave species-wise?
Ooh, I like that. And when Kara arrives,
or what materials might have been in the crates.
When Kara arrives, the two of you can combine expertise. You may make the roll, Quentin, and Kara, you may roll one die to assist with an extra die because one of your focuses applies. So you both get to roll 2 dice. At least I think that's how it works.
And target numbers and stuff?
Oh, sorry. It should be whatever sciencing is. Let me look at what sciencing is for the both of you. In this case, it is reason science is a 15 for Kara. One of her focuses applies, so 4 is your critical range. And Quentin, it's also a reason science, so 15 and... I'm going to let anthropology apply because there's something familiar about the situation. So it's 15 for both of you with a critical range of 4. So 3 successes for Quentin, and how many does Kara add? 2 more. Whoa. That builds.
And we got almost the same rolls.
I had given you a difficulty of, in my mind, this was a difficulty of 2 to identify things, and the reason that I made it a 2 instead of a 3 was because Kara was involved, and Kara's specialty is xenobiology. You are able, with the readings that you have and being able to compare the image of footprints and stuff that you get, tell at least the species of people that have been in this cave. There have been a number of Rysians in here, and there have also been a number of Ryans in here. And investigating what was in the crates is where the familiarity comes in. As Kara, you're the first one to actually, Quentin is certainly detecting it, but because it's something that you have a lot of familiarity with, you recognize it just a few moments before he does. There were Epos in those crates. There were Epos in this cave. There were Orions in this cave, and there have been Rysian caves.
Kara wants to pass out face down in the sand, but she doesn't.
And when you this would be kind of like perfect timing after they had a picnic and going into the evening knowing there's going to be a concert, as you guys would be able to be arriving back toward the resort could be be right about the time everybody is discovering these things, because when the security arrives that you called, Marcus, at about the same time, Eli and Larissa are going to be arriving. Rick, you're on your way to a concert. Chaplain, they're really wanting to, like, whatever they can to, like, make your stay a good one. Apologizing again for the dead body. And
when they say that, he says the only thing you could possibly do to make my stay more pleasant is to allow me and my crew to assist in this investigation. We're bored.
See. So when you're talking to this security officer, you'll get the word back from the scene as the security arrives, Marcus, where you and Tardigrade and now Eli and Larissa are. Some Rysian security. They're dressed in that draped white shirt that I remember seeing in any Risa episodes, but you can tell that underneath, like, the shirt where it tucks into the pants, they have like a small box. It's not a weapon by any stretch of. Okay, I'll hang on. So we'll take a quick hang on moment. Yeah, it's like having. That's a good way to put it. Cast. It's like having a little mother box on your belt. It's just a little black box with a couple of, like, colored lights on it. That's what the that's what the Rysians walking, coming to the cafe along with your crew look like. Yeah, I'm not seeing anybody talking unless they're talking.
If other people are getting feedback from me, it might be a Discord thing, because there's no way it should, like, physically, there's no way that my mic is getting onto the server.
I'm hearing everybody super well tonight.
Yeah, so the issue was, like, feedback coming from me, but I was not hitting push to talk, and I wasn't, like, I didn't have anything, like, showing up on my end. So I'm thinking that might be, I think it's a Discord thing right there.
I was about to say, to give you some outside perspective, your light had been on until you just talked a second ago, and then now it's gone back to normal, so it's probably just some sort of Discord thing.
Same thing.
Oh. Well, and remember, the whole reason I do push to talk is because for some reason my mic, or something about my headset particularly, will pick up other people and transmit it through my mic. So I went to push to talk, so that's not an issue anymore.
Yeah, I've been doing push to talk, like, since we started, so I think it was just a Discord thing, so we're good now.
Yeah, but just the light anyway.
Hey, technical problems fixed. So what we have is a scene with the three of you who just discovered who was out in the cave, making you want to facepalm, are going to have to get back to the resort probably before, like, evening really sets in. And so that would be the three of you arriving back at the resort. Now we're, like, three of the crew. We got to have a floaters scene. You flew across this, like, huge resort island. And so even though there's, like, the specter of blood and murder on the horizon, it's still a really pretty episode. Absolutely beautiful.
I actually, Kara does walk back. She actually recoils from the idea of using one of the floaters.
And Baz, basically, this is everyone is coming back to the area of the main resort. Some may have been headed off toward Ryk'tyr was headed off toward the concert, and you're there for the very first, like, pieces of the concert, and it's like something you've never heard. Um, uh, Humans have a wide variety of things that they listen to as music. And as you're walking up with like tons of other vacationers, you see a purple woman on stage, along with with an obvious robot, and looks like a liberated Borg. And the purple woman is her hair is really long, and she has a long ponytail. She is playing a guitar, and like I say, it's like something you've never heard. I really doubt that that in most circumstances you would have heard what humans refer to as classical music. It's this. You've also seen it listed under a subgenre of rock and roll. And that is what is happening on stage, along with kind of this like reggae vibe that is being that the robot is playing the drums in such a way that it's like a reggae vibe happening, and you can see that she also has, it's a female robot, by the way, and a female liberated Borg, but the drums being played, you can see there are also pieces on her shoulders that are speakers. So in addition to the sounds that the drums are making, there's also percussion noises coming from the speakers on her shoulders. And so it's a combination of rock and roll and reggae happening on this beach that you're walking up to. And that's, no, it's not like a Purple Woman group. But Baz, I really love that Ryk'tyr is the first one to see Miranda and the Mayhems on stage at Risa. It makes a certain degree of sense. And the last scene, because I know that Baz wanted to call it a night a little bit early if we could, because he's got relatives that he would like to interact with. Last scene is the security arriving and saying, Marcus, we received a call. Eli and Larissa are arriving, and security says, what happened? Rise. That's the first person that says something as we come up on the scene of Marcus Graves, Lieutenant Tardigrade, a whole lot of blood, and security, Rysian security, looking at everybody who's arriving, and the woman who is like escorting you, Chaplain Whateley. I love those last lines of letting my crew and I help because we're bored. And security looking at you, Graves, and saying, we received your signal. What exactly happened here?
I have no idea.
Well, hold on just a minute. His box, there's a green light on it that pings, and he takes it off and he puts it up next to his head. And you hear a sound that is like a very, very light. Like that's some kind of communication. He shakes his head once. His looks like blood rushes through the Rysian symbol that makes up part of the flesh of his forehead. Because it looks like he's both like shocked and angry at the same time. And he says, making no formal accusations about what happened here, but we have a stabbing victim on one of our beaches. And you understand that we're going to have to place you under arrest.
Graves nods at that point, and then
it's to be continued. Whatever you say, end it with to be continued.
And on top of that, he just sort of nods at that point. But the to be continued is over Lieutenant Tardigrade's very concerned face. Just cutting to him for the reaction shot.